How do you know a woman is flirting with you? And potentially online. But before I can answer, please consider subscribing to the channel so everyone can realize that Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery is literally just a retelling of Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda and possibly an intellectual property violation. Not that this audience remotely cares about anything Star Trek, but I've just revealed to everyone that yes, I am a Trekkie. Oh well. And hit the alert bells so that you guys know when I go live. Got plenty of new typing sessions around the corner, and I kind of like go live randomly with those, so you might want to like make sure you have the alert bells so you don't miss those. That being said, what's up, Eco Hackers? This is the CSJ podcast. I'm CS Joseph here to answer all of your questions, anything Jungian analytical psychology or the four sides of the mind, or random questions that I just find and then decide to randomly turn into content, which is exactly what I'm doing today. And I also have a specific victim in mind because, that's what she gets for being Facebook friends on me, because all of my Facebook friends are automatic potential to being content for myself on my channel. So I guess that's the cost of being Facebook friends with CS Joseph. That being said, it is Olga Orlova Radu, and this is a post that she made, and let's take a look at it, shall we? So, dear men, I have a question. I just had a pretty long chat with my friend about flirt, comma, so colon. I think it's about flirting. I hope it's that. Anyway, how do you understand that woman is flirting with you online? Then I'm like, okay, yeah, that's right. The reason why she's not using proper grammar spelling here is because English is not her first language, so that's not her fault. So, but at least she has the guts at doing this. And my initial reaction to this question is like, wait a minute, this is getting a little weird. So there's so much to cover with this question, so it'll be a little bit interesting. But let's take a moment and actually kind of see what's going on here. So. We got Gus here who says, don't overthink it, don't read into it. What are the exact words being used? If one needs more than that, they need more life lessons. And I'm like, okay, why is Olga asking this question? So I'm like, okay, let's find out about her first. Let's do this. So we're gonna go to her Facebook account here. Okay, so this is Olga Orlova Radu, fan of Rammstein, automatic plus for that. Also a piano player. Okay, that's pretty cool. And mother, wife, a friend, and a special woman. Okay, so mother, wife, friend, and a special woman. Okay, so this is just an example of extroverted thinking. Yeah, that's right, folks. We're literally going to type someone based off their Facebook profile right here and now. So yes, mother, wife, friend, all of these roles and all these titles. That could be an FE statement. That could be a TE statement. Not sure. But I'm a special woman. Okay, so that's automatically an FI user. So she's an FI user. I mean, just look at her. I mean, these are photos of other people she's taken in the back, but just look at her. And if I had to guess, I'd immediately say, just off a visual typing standpoint, that like Olga here is an NTJ woman, like straight up. And then she studied at the Russian Foreign Ministry. Okay. Does that mean like you work for the State Department? Are you potentially a Russian? I mean, like, is that like, are you a field operative? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's kind of what the United States intelligence community say. They always say that they're working for the State Department. So, I mean, isn't the Russian Foreign Ministry the State Department? I mean, what are you trying to say there? Oh, dang, she's got a website. Let's go check that out. That's cool. I didn't even know she had a website, even like planning to do this and whatnot. And then we have her photos. Look at that. Look at these photos. Okay, so we got Olga here, and she's got her glasses, which stereotypically people are like, oh, when you have glasses, you're a TE user. That's not necessarily the case, but that's what people say. She definitely does her eyebrows. She really cares about her lipstick. She's got a little bit of foundation, and they're doing her hair. Her hair looks really good, so this is indicative of an extroverted sensor, a woman who cares about how she comes off aesthetically to other people. So she's definitely SE and I for sure. And we've already looked at the fact that she's a special woman, right? So she's an FITE user. So automatically we know Olga here is a Wayfarer, just based on this little bit of information here. And we got other photos of her. Look at her in this one, looking all accomplished and whatnot, saying, hey, I'm writing things down. She's got to write things down because, she's an SE user, right? Definitely more SE going here, etc. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Definitely. All the more, same type of thing. But kind of seems like she might be on the abstract side a little bit, with just kind of how she's looking anonymously in this photo here. But we'll see. But you know what? A lot of people have a problem with how I approach visual typing, so let's look at some other examples. Let's look at a visual clone of Olga Orlova Radu here, and that is none other than S.E. Cupp. So S.E. Cupp, who in my opinion is a total shill of a person, but that's just another thing. I first met her back when I used to care about a website known as theblaze.com, because I will admit I actually followed Glenn Beck and I actually cared about Glenn Beck for a while, which I no longer do, especially since he completely mischaracterized and misreported the death of Sean Smith as a result of 9/11/2012 and the Benghazi incident, etc. And I don't appreciate my friends and I being labeled as a CIA front or a recruiting front over the internet that had to do with that as a result of our friend Sean Smith being killed. Not really in the mood for that. But S.E. Cupp used to work for him, and she was all about making herself look like this major conservative woman or whatever. And now she's like got a different job, so now she's a leftist for the sake of her job, you know. And I'm just like, could please people just be like super consistent and whatnot? And you know what's really funny though, like all the INTP friends of mine like are like so insanely attracted to S.E. Cupp here. And I mean, let's be honest, they want to bang her, like straight up. They just want to bang her, you know. And you know, she's an NTJ woman. She is an ENTJ. She's direct initiating control, direct initiating outcome, basically. And this is an ENTJ. And isn't it just kind of interesting how you could just see, you know, look at her compared to Olga over here with these photos of her. You know, can you not see the resemblance? It's very, very similar. Now, if we were going to look at like, you know, someone like Paris Hilton, who is an INTJ, you can kind of see some very similarities with kind of how they do their makeup, because NTJ women often do their makeup the same in this regard. So you can really see that there is a huge similarity being done here. But as a result, I really think that Olga here is very initiating. I think with her going, you know, being a photographer, that's more indicative of ISFP subconscious. So based on the little data that we have here with what the kind of woman that we're talking about here who's asking this question, this is definitely an ENTJ woman right here. So yeah, Olga's an ENTJ, and that's pretty cool. And now and let's also make note that the fact that she's married. She's married. That is relevant to this discussion. And here's Olga here. She is a photographer. Remember, beauty is inside. I mean, I guess a lot of women say that because for some reason, you know, it's unethical or not socially acceptable to fat shame people, even though me as a young child was fat shamed consistently because I used to weigh 300 pounds, but apparently we can't do that anymore for some reason. And it happened to me all the time. So who knows? I mean, that's not really up to me. So let's click the About Me section, right? Let's see if we can gather some more evidence about this woman. All right, so here she is doing a nice little brand here on her shirt. So that's kind of like, you know, okay, nice little TE representation there. Welcome to my page. Okay, your page. Does that mean you're an FI user? My name is Olga. Okay, that's pretty direct. Thank you for being direct. I am a mother of two, originally from Russia. Awesome. Russians are cool. My wife is half Russian, so that's awesome. After a long maternity leave, I decided to try my 9 to 6 job in the oil and gas industry. But I thought you worked at the foreign ministry. I don't understand. And seriously dedicate to myself what I truly love. What I focus on is my photos, is the eyes. What I focus on in my photos are the eyes, but I mean, you know, English is second language. It's all good. It's really important that we be sensitive towards people who have English as a second language. You know, it's really helpful, you know. Besides, it's kind of cool when people are multilingual, because then, like, because honestly, like, Americans often get looked down. They get looked down upon for, you know, only knowing English, right? Now, luckily, I know Spanish too, so I'm not, you know, a complete failure on that side, you know. But I am actually learning Russian because I actually want to talk to my wife's grandfather. He's an ISTP, totally cool dude, and I would like to actually talk to him in Russian in the future. So I'm learning that, and I'm also learning Japanese right now at the same time as well. Also because, you know, my wife is also Japanese. She's Japanese Russian. So anyway, That being said, my experience helped me not only create a comfortable atmosphere, admitting she's an SE user trying to give other people good experience during the shooting, but also reveal your personality in absolutely different and unexpected ways. Now, that's a really nice abstract statement. In addition to training in photography, so she trains other people, which is typical of an ENJ offering training. I took courses in psychology and makeup. Okay, so this is another FITE statement. She apparently took courses in psychology. That's probably why she's friends with me on Facebook. She's probably a member of the audience, which is cool. That's awesome. And you can see my work in the portfolio section on Instagram and Facebook. Okay, yeah, that's true. And she lives in Bucharest, but often visit Moscow and London. On location, the shooting can be discussed individually. Awesome. Very happy to have you in front of the camera sometime soon. Awesome. So yeah, basic website, very NTJ, and I still maintain she is an ENTJ. Very direct here. She seems to be talking about outcomes per se in this particular location. She's not really talking about the journey of photography that she's had. So all the more evidence to go through right here. And honestly, for the sake of this video, I wasn't even planning on going on her website. And that's okay. And we obviously see her similarity to this ENTJ woman, also known as SE Cup. I just wish SE Cup would get over her FI inferior and recognize that she can actually stand for something. This whole like, ooh, I'm a pundit on television and I'm going to change my opinion for the sake of my job. I don't really agree with people who behave that way in the media, and the fact that I'm seeing an ENTJ do that, that just really bothers me. ENTJ are actually, they're really good people, you know, and when you see someone like SE Cup behave that way, it just kind of makes you realize that not everybody is a good person, I guess. I'm not saying she's a bad person either. I'm just saying, like, don't be a shill. That's all I'm saying. Don't be a shill. Please don't. Just don't. Anyway, yes, I called SE Cup a shill. I did. It is what it is. Get over it. So, dear men, I have a question. I just had a pretty long chat with my friend about flirting. I'm just gonna translate here. So, how do you understand that woman is flirting with you online? So, this is a married woman asking this question. So, this is kind of interesting. She asked this 7 hours ago, and I saw it come up in my feed because we're Facebook friends, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do? I'm going to answer it. So, let's answer her question. Let's look at some more comments in here. Loading up comments. Let's see the answer that I provide. All right, so here's my first answer right here. So my first answer was, that depends on what psyche she is. And she's like, okay, yeah, for example, she answers an hour later. So I respond to her again, and I said, who wants to be wanted? Who is seeking attention? Who is showing desire? Who is giving attention? All these things after in the alt or I don't know what apparently English is my second language too. So who is giving attention? All these things in the matter. I think all these things matter, not after. All these things matter in the context of a relationship, etc. So, and I'm going to get to how she replies to that, but I want to actually expound on that before I continue. So, why does this matter? Like, when we're going to look at cognitive functions, let's look at cognitive functions. So remember, introverted sensing, what does introverted sensing do? And then you have extroverted sensing. And then what does introverted intuition do? And then what does extroverted intuition do? This is really important when you're considering, flirting, etc. Okay, so from like an introverted sensing point of view, you have to remember, what does it do? What do they do? Well, it provides attention, okay? Attention, right? Introverted sensing provides attention. Extroverted sensing, what it does is it seeks attention. This is why, extroverted sensors, when it comes to relationships, they want people to stick around. It's really important. This is why, like, when you look at an INFP, and you're having, like, an INFP who's, like, flirting with, like, an ENTJ on the internet, for example, and they're texting and whatnot, if the INTP is responding often with their text, that means that INFP is providing the SE child of the ENTJ, like an ENTJ woman who's initiating with him consistently. An ENTJ woman like Olga, for example, if Olga is texting an INFP man, of course she wouldn't, because she's married. But the point is, in that particular moment, it's it's a situation, right, as a result. So extroverted sensing, seeks attention, and she would be seeking his attention, and he's providing his attention with introverted sensing. Now, an INFP who is not providing attention is not really going to respond very often, and if they're not providing attention, that means they're not interested. So what that means is no attention equals no interest. Okay? And you can use this rule for every SI user, every single introverted sensor. If provide attention, then they want you. So they're flirting. If provide attention, okay, they are interested, right? That's how you know. And you got to look at this from like the introverted, you got to look at this from the introverted cognitive functions, right? If provide attention, they're interested, okay? So then we have introverted intuition, right? Okay, so this will be a little bit different. What does introverted intuition do? Well, it provides desire, okay? It provides desire, okay? And then NE is obviously seeking to be desired, right? And because they're seeking to be desired, they produce desirability, right? They produce desirability, right? That's how they're trying to attract other people by providing desirable. Whereas this extroverted sensing produces a show because they want people's attention. They produce attention getters, like uh, pattern interrupts even, okay? Pattern interrupts as well. Jokes, which is a form of pattern interrupt, or hey, look at me. Sometimes that can also include risky behavior in relationships, etc. Risky behavior, that's also a really important one. But expert intuition people, they're seeking to be desired, and they produce desirability. And this is oftentimes which leads to coquette related seductive style, also known as playing hard to get, right? Because they're trying to test whether or not that works. And who is an NE user? Well, an NE user is an SI user at the same time. So those are like the ISTJs, ISFJs, ESFJs, ESTJs, ENTPs, INFPs, ENFPs, INTPs, etc. All of those types fall in this category of SINE. Whereas NISE does things a little bit different, right? So seeking attention, so these are like the SP types, basically the NJ types, SPs and NJ types, all are, doing this, producing a show, attention getters, pattern up, risky behavior, and NI provides desire. So providing a desire, so logically speaking, you can see that no desire equals no interest, right? No desire equals no interest. But, if you're an NE user and this person is constantly, initiating with you, because NI initiates more. So initiating, whereas SI is more responding, even if their interaction style is overall initiating or overall responding, just for the sake of their ego. If you're going to break it down to individual cognitive functions, certain cognitive functions are actually more initiating versus responding, okay? So that would also make extroverted sensing a little bit more initiating as well. This is why they struggle with fear of rejection or being rejected, whereas NE is ultimately responding. So if we're going to look at base cognitive functions and not considering interaction styles specifically of like an ego, for example, with their entire four function stack, you're going to break it down, there's still base behaviors and this is why, like, if you're going to flirt with someone, if you're going to ask someone out, if you're going to like do cold approach pickup, what you're going to want to do is that if you're an NI user, you need to initiate. You just need to straight up initiate, right? This is like literally how it works. And we can actually go further. We could actually look at pickup lines. You guys want to know like the ultimate pickup line is? Let's look at the NI pickup line, okay? So let's do a pickup line. And the ultimate pickup line for an NI user is the following. I want to do this, okay? I want to do this. You should come with me, okay? This is the ultimate pickup line for an NI user to an SI user. And an NI user should be trying to pick up an SI user because that NI user is going to want to feel the reactions that the SI user has to every time the NI user touches them, especially in a sexual situation. They have high sexual compatibility. Sexual compatibility is only really on these 4 functions. It's not about the decision-making functions. The decision-making functions are emotional compatibility, but this is sexual compatibility right here, okay? So NI is like, I want to do this. You should come with me. Whereas SI says, I am doing this thing, or they say, or I have done this already, and then they ask, do you want to come with me when I do it again? Do you want, wow, apparently I'm just like bad at writing today. Do you want to come with me? Okay, you're giving the person a choice. This is how you initiate as an SI user. You're using your expert intuition to provide a choice. Because remember, NE is all about giving choices, right? Giving choices. Whereas SE is actually all about obligating, telling people what they should do, obligating others. Okay, that's why it says, you know, you should come with me, right? That's where this comes from. You should come with me. It's extroverted sensing, right? Okay. So when you're considering whether or not somebody is actually flirting with you, you need to be aware of these little dichotomies within the cognitive functions, within the sexual functions, which are the perception functions. These are sexual functions, and you have to understand. So you first need to understand which you are. Are you an SI user? Are you an NI user? And that will help you figure out what your point of origin is when you are considering whether or not you're in a relationship with somebody, or wow, the sun's like peering through. That's like really annoying. But if you're an SI user, right, and someone's flirting with you, you know they're flirting with you and that they're an NI user because they're providing you desire, basically, because they're initiating with you. If you are an NI user and you're initiating with somebody else, basically, in like the reverse role, because both can initiate. I just showed you with the pickup lines, both can initiate. But just understand that over time, it's an NI user's job to initiate, and it's the SI user's perspective to respond, basically, over time, regardless if they're an introvert or an extrovert. Be aware of that, okay? That's not to say that the introvert and extrovert can't do what they mainly do, respond or initiate, and that's not to say that both of them can't respond or initiate in some way. I'm just talking about primary roles versus secondary roles in a sexual encounter, or maybe like flirting and whatnot. So based on this, the flirting, if you're an SI user, you know they're flirting with you if they keep initiating with you, if they keep showing desire. If you're an NI user, you know that they're flirting with you if they are responsive to you or if they're giving you attention. This is actually how you know. And this is why I was going out of my way to show, in the context of this Facebook question, to answer Olga's question. This is why I'm saying it all depends. It depends on who wants to be wanted, who is seeking attention, who is showing desire, who is giving attention. All these things alter, or all these things matter in the context of relationships, and that's why my previous whiteboard. Although her response to this is kind of interesting to me, because she says, "Don't rush, Chase. Flirting is an innocent act," which kind of boggles my mind, and I have to respond to this. I could see what you are saying, uh, but is it so innocent if someone is married or in a committed relationship like yourself? You know, you always got to keep that in mind, because when people are flirting with you, you have to like really understand, like, are you in a committed monogamous relationship? Are you in non-committed sexual relationships? I mean, that really matters. It matters because in the flirting situation, like, especially if you're an SI user, are you being disloyal to somebody else by you actively flirting with somebody else, or are you being disloyal as an SI user because you are allowing somebody else to flirt with you? See, these are some really interesting questions you want to consider. And then from the NI user side, if we're going to look at the Introverted Intuition approach here, the NI user side, it's like, okay, do you really want to flirt with somebody else? And if you want to flirt with someone else, you've practically already made the decision that you don't want the person that you're with. which oftentimes is what happens to INTJs, I've noticed, because INTJs, they're like, you know, they're anti-heroes. Like, I know what I want, and I'm not going to waste time on this person. If I really don't want them, I'm going to let them know and break that off before I start wanting somebody else. That's typically the process, the system that they follow. Typically. Typically. Now, when it comes to women, you got to consider hypergamy. When you're balancing, you know, the dualistic feminine sexual strategy, or they balance out alpha need, or excuse me, alpha seed when compared to beta need. That's in terms of the different men that they're looking for, you know, pair bonding with, for a definite or indefinite amount of time. I don't know, but that is definitely something to consider. So anyway, folks, I just wanted to do this so that you guys understand, you know, these little dichotomies when it comes to flirting, because a lot of people just have no understanding of this, and it counts either on Facebook, or it counts on any form of social media, even dating apps. All these rules apply, and like that's just a thing. So anyway, if you'd like a free copy of the type grid to assist you in typing yourself and others, please visit csjoseph.life/typegrid. If you guys want to take a personality test that I made, you could do that at csjoseph.life/discover. Anyway, folks, all that being said, I'll see you guys tonight.